Hey everyone, it's Mrs. Sommer here to go over the 206L, the Unit 2 review. So in the first questions, it says in exercises 1 through 4, find the slope and the y-intercept of the graph of the linear equation, then sketch a picture of the graph. Well, as you can see, I've already inserted the sketches of the graphs. So you can always pause it and make sure that your graph is sketched similar to what these graphs looks like. But in question 1, it says y is equal to 1/4 x plus 1, and it's asking what the slope is. Well, remember, the slope is the number that comes in front of the x in slope-intercept form. So the slope is 1/4 in this case, and the y-intercept is 1. The y-intercept is that b in y is equal to mx plus b. In question number 2, it says y is equal to 2x. Well, our slope is 2, and our y-intercept is 0. As you can see from the graph, it crosses the x or the y-axis at 0. In question 3, it says y is equal to -3. Well, the slope here, because there is no number in front of x, the slope is actually 0. And the y-intercept, let's make that 0 a red, the slope is 0, and the y-intercept is -3. And as you can see from the graph, it is a horizontal line. So when you have y is equal to a constant, it's always going to be a horizontal line. In question 4, it says y is equal to -2x plus 4. Our slope is -2, and our y-intercept is 4. It says in exercises 5 to 6, write an equation of the line in slope-intercept form with the given slope and y-intercept. So let's go to find those questions. So these questions, 5 and 6, it's giving it to us as slope is 4 and the y-intercept is 0. So remember our equation, y is equal to mx plus b, which is the slope-intercept form. So I'm going to start by writing my y, and then my slope goes in here, and my y-intercept goes right there, and I'm left with y is equal to 4x plus 0. And anything plus 0, we can just write as y is equal to 4x. Question 6 says the slope is -3/5, and the y-intercept is 2. So we have y is equal to mx plus b. This goes right there. This goes in here. And we are left with y is equal to -3/5x plus 2. In exercises 7 to 8, it says to state the y-intercept and slope. Then write an equation of the line in slope-intercept form. So in question 7, we need to figure out our slope first. So I went up 1 and over 1, 2. So I went up 1, I went to the left 2, so my slope is -1/2. And my y-intercept, so my slope is -1/2, and my y-intercept is at 3. So my equation of the line is y is equal to -1/2 x plus 3. In question 8, I need to calculate my slope, so I'm going to count from here, going up 1, 2, 3, 4. So I went up 4, and I'm going to go over 1, 2, 3 to the right. So my slope is 4/3, and my y-intercept is right here, and is at 1. So I'm going to put y is equal to 4/3x plus 1. In the next part of this review, it says point slope form. In exercises 9 to 10, write an equation in point slope form of the line that passes through the given point and has the given slope. Then sketch a picture of the graph. So I've already inserted the pictures of the graph so you can compare yours. But remember, point slope form is y minus y1 is equal to m times x minus x1. So our equation, this is my x1, y1, and my slope is there. So I have y minus 2 is equal to 3 times the quantity of x minus 5. Oops. Looks like my graph for question 10 got cut off a little bit. But here is my x1, my y1, and my slope. So I have y minus 1 is equal to negative 1 over 5 times x minus a negative 6. So y minus 1 is equal to negative 1 over 5 times x plus 6 as my final answer. Questions 11 and 12, it's giving us a graph and it wants us to write the equation of the line in point slope form. So remember, point slope form is y minus y1 is equal to x or m times x minus x1. And you can have multiple answers to this equation of the line. But let's first find our slope. So I'm going to start at a given point. I went up 1, 2, 3. So I went up 3 and over 1, 2. And I went over to the left 2, which is a negative movement. So my slope is negative 3 over 2. Now I can pick any point. I can pick this point, I can pick this point, I can pick this point. I'm going to choose this point right here. So I'm going to choose my equation, y minus 2 is equal to negative 3 over 2 times x minus 2. But you could have chosen this point and gotten y minus negative 1 is equal to negative 3 over 2 times x minus 4. So y plus 1 is equal to negative 3 over 2 times x minus 4. Or you could have chosen this point, which is actually 0, 4. And you could have gotten y minus 4 is equal to negative 3 over 2 times x plus 0. Any of those points would work, or line equations would work, because they're all talking about the exact same line. Now on question 12, it's still putting it in point slope form, and it wants us to we need to first find the slope. So by first finding the slope, we're going to have our slope. I'm going to start at this point, and I'm going to go up 1, 2, 3. So I went up 3, but I'm going to go to the left 1, 2, 3. So to the left 3, so that's 3 over negative 3, which is actually equal to negative 1. So my equation, I'm going to first start with this point. Y minus 3 is equal to negative 1 times x minus negative 5. So y minus 3 is equal to negative 1 times x plus 5. Could also write it with this point, negative 2, 0. So I can do y minus 0 is equal to negative 1 times x minus negative 2, which turns into x plus 2. I could also do it with this point, which is actually 0, negative 2. I get y plus 2, because of that negative, is equal to negative 1 times x plus 0. In questions 13 to 14, write an equation in point slope form of the line that passes through the given points. So my first I have to figure out my slope. Remember, the slope formula is y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So I have these 2 points, x1, y1, x2, y2. So I'm going to do 10 minus 3 divided by 3 minus 6, which is 7 divided by negative 3. So our slope is negative 7 over 3. The equation in point slope form, if we choose this point first, I have y minus 3 is equal to negative 7 over 3 times x minus 6. I could also choose this point. Y minus 10 is equal to negative 7 over 3 times x minus 3. Okay, those are two different equations, but they talk about the same exact line. Now, if we're looking at question 14, we have to do the exact same thing. Y2 minus y1. So I have 2 minus negative 4 divided by 15 minus 5, which is equal to 2 plus 4 over 10, which is equal to 6 over 10. And since 6 over 10 can be reduced to 3 over 5, reduce it. But don't turn if it was a proper fraction, don't turn it into a mixed fraction. So the equation, let's start with this point, would be y plus 4 is equal to 3 over 5 times x minus 5. If I chose that point, it would be y minus 2 is equal to 3 over 5 times x minus 15. Two different equations talking about the exact same line. So now we're moving into standard form of the equation of a line. And it says to find the x-intercept and y-intercepts of the graph of the linear equation. Then sketch a picture of the graph. So remember, we can do the cover-up method, or we can insert a 0 in for either x or y. So for the x-intercept, we need to put a 0 in for y. So we get 3x plus 4 times 0 is equal to 24. So I get 3x is equal to 24. Divide each side by 3. I get x is equal to 8. So my x-intercept is at 8, 0. My y-intercept is when x is 0, so I can plug in 3 times 0 plus 4y is equal to 24. 4y is equal to 24. Divide by 4. Y is equal to 6. So my y-intercept is at 0, 6. And this is a graph of the line that we just found the intercepts for. Here's another equation which isn't quite in standard form because this leading coefficient is negative, but we have negative 4x minus 6y is equal to 12. So if I plug in a 0 for y, I can find my x-intercept, and I get negative 4x is equal to 12. Divide by negative 4. I get x is equal to negative 3. And by doing that, my x-intercept is at negative 3, 0. And then my y-intercept is now when x is 0. So I'm going to plug in a 0 for that. And I get negative 6y is equal to 12. Divide by negative 6. I get y is equal to negative 2. And my y-intercept is at 0, negative 2. And then here's the picture of the graph of that line. So in these exercises, it says exercises 1 through 4, but I'm pretty sure it means 19 through 20 something, 19 through 22. It says write an equation in point slope form given through the point and that has a given slope. Then change the equation to slope intercept form and sketch a picture of the graph. So first we're going to write our equation in point slope form. So we have y minus 1 is equal to 4 times x minus 3. And to convert it into slope-intercept form, I first have to distribute that 4. So I'm left with y minus 1. And I'm going to do that over here. Y minus 1 is equal to 4x minus 12. Then I need to add 1 to both sides. And I get y is equal to 4x minus 11. And that's the equation of the line when we started in point slope and going to slope intercept form. Question 20 is the same, but now we're given two points. So I need to first find the slope, which is -9 minus -3 divided by 2 minus 4, which is -9 plus 3 over -2, which is -6 over -2, which is +3. So my slope is +3. And then I'm going to choose this point. You could have chosen this point, but I'm going to use this first point to write it in point slope form. So I have y plus 3 is equal to 3 times x minus 4. Now I need to distribute this 3 to convert it. I get y plus 3 is equal to 3x minus 12. Now I'm going to subtract 3. I get y is equal to 3x minus 15 as the equation of the line in slope-intercept form. So if you're going from point slope to slope-intercept form, you first start by distributing that 3 and then getting y by itself. And that's what the graph of the equation the line looks like. So in these two questions, we're actually going to go from standard form to slope-intercept form. So it's give us to us in standard form, and I need to get y by itself. So get y by itself. That's the whole goal, is to get y by itself to get into slope-intercept form. So I'm going to add 6x to both sides. And I'm left with 3y is equal to 6x minus 18. Then I'm going to divide both sides by 3. And I get y is equal to 6x over 3 minus 18 over 3. So then I simplify it. I get y is equal to 2x minus 6. Question 22 is the same thing, but we need to add 3x first. And I get 8y is equal to 3x minus 24. Divide each side by 8. And remember to divide everything by 8, not just the 3. You got to divide the 24 by 8 as well. So then I am left with y is equal to 3 over 8x minus 3 as my equation of the line in this slope-intercept form. And if you were to graph this in both forms, you would have the exact same line. It's just going from one form to another. So now here are some word problems. It says, Mr. Thompson is on a diet. He currently weighs 300 pounds. He loses 5 pounds per month. Write a linear model that represents Mr. Thompson's weight after X months. After how many months will Mr. Thompson reach his goal weight of 220 pounds? So I'm going to first highlight key information. I'm highlighting his starting weight, and I'm also highlighting that he loses 5 pounds per month. Then I'm going to define my variables. Let X equal number of months. And then let Y equal final weight. Now I can write my equation. I have Y is equal to, this 5 pounds per month is my slope. 5 times X, because 5 times the number of months. And then I'm going to also add in his starting, actually, we're not going to add in his starting weight because he's losing it. So if we wrote it like this, it would mean that he was gaining 5 pounds a month, which isn't true. So we have to go back to the drawing board. We're going to write y is equal to 300. And since he's losing 5 pounds a month, we're going to subtract that 5 pounds a month. And then it says, after how many months will Mr. Thompson reach his goal weight of 220 pounds? Well, 220 pounds is his goal weight. And we're going to do 300 minus 5x. So we need to solve for x. So we get minus 300 from both sides. And I'm left with negative 80 is equal to negative 5x. Divide both sides by 5. I get x is equal to 16. And so I'm going to write it as a complete sentence. As a complete sentence, my answer is it will take 16 months to weigh 220 pounds. The next question says, Paul opens a savings account with $150. He saves $150 per month. Assume he does not withdraw money or make any additional deposits. Write an equation that represents the total amount of money Paul deposits into his account after X months. So my key information is he starts it with $150. He saves $150 per month. So my let X equal number of months and let Y equal amount final. So the final amount. So my equation would be Y is equal to 150x plus 150. And then it says, how many months will Paul have made more than $2,000? So I'm going to do 2,000 is equal to 150x plus 150. Subtract 150. I get 1,850 is equal to 1,500x. If I divide each side by 150, I get x is equal to 12.333. But since it's asking about after how many months will Paul have more than $2,000, it's asking for a number of months, so not partial months. So it's going to be the complete sentence. A complete sentence would be, after 13 months, Paul would save more than $2,000. This last question is, Amory has X books that weigh 3 pounds each and Y books that weigh 5. I'm assuming this says weigh 5 pounds each. The total weight of his books is 60 pounds. So write a linear equation that represents the two numbers, number of 2-pound books to the number of 3-pound books Amory has. And that question should also say, write a linear model that represents the number of 3-pound books to the number of 5-pound books, because we apparently changed the numbers in the question. So my key information is that he has X books that weigh 3 pounds and Y books that weigh that amount. And then the total weight is 60 pounds. So I'm going to write my define. So I wrote, let X equal the number of 3-pound books and let Y equal the number of 5-pound books. So my equation will look like 3 times X plus 5 times Y is equal to 60, because 60 is the total amount of pounds. I have 3, which is the amount of the weight of each book, times the total number of 3-pound books, plus 5, which is the weight of the 5-pound books, times the number of 5-pound books. So that would be my equation. And this is where standard form is a better way to write it than the slope-intercept form of the previous questions. So it says, and the question is, if Amory has 10 3-pound books, how many 5-pound books does he have? So we can plug in 10 for x. So 3 times 10 is, plus 5y is equal to 60. So I have 30 plus 5y is equal to 60. And then I'm going to subtract 30 from both sides. And I get 5y is equal to 30. Divide both sides by 5. And I get y is equal to 6. So in a complete sentence, it would look like Amory has 6 5-pound books.